All right, so here are 5 quotes from some of my mentors, my virtual mentors that are going to help you get ahead in life without necessarily having to work any harder. So, the very first quote is all around leverage. This one says, leverage is the difference between what you put in and what you get out. This is from Alex Hormozy. That is a very simple quote. Leverage is the difference between what you put in and what you get out. And so, the more leverage you have, for one level of input, you will get 2 levels of output. That's a little bit of leverage. More leverage would be I put in 1 input, I get 10 outputs, right? Now, your ability to grow in life or in your business is dictated by how much leverage you can get for the activities that you do. And the reason for this is because you have a finite amount of time. You are not this immortal being that can just work around the clock and manifest, thousands of hours in an instant. So you are constrained by this mortal coil. And so there is a limit to how much you can physically do in terms of working faster. You can only move so fast through this world and only check off so many to-dos. And so the variable of input that matters the most is the importance and the value of the activity that you're actually doing. Now, one of my favorite frames for thinking about when it comes to money, the 4 different types of leverage that you can use, and this is from Naval, you've heard about this constantly, is that you can use labor leverage, you can use capital leverage, technology leverage, and media leverage. I've done videos on all 4 of those and talked about how I've used them personally in my own businesses. But the truth is that you are not going to get ahead by just working harder than everybody else. Because there is a person out there right now, I promise you, in some third world country who's working literally 18, 19 hours a day, and they are working at the max of what a human could possibly do in terms of sheer hours put in, and they're not getting any further ahead. So the question you have to ask yourself is, how can I get more leverage for the activities that I'm doing? So become a student of leverage. You can move mountains. Number 2 is that you need to get in the right vehicle. This is from Warren Buffett. He says, doesn't matter how hard you row if you're in the wrong boat. The way that I like to think about this is that your hustle is the motor, right? The opportunity that you're pursuing is the boat that you're in. And you have to pair the right work ethic, the right motor with the right boat. So if you are a super hard worker, you're working 18 hours a day, and you have this massive engine, but you strap it to the back of a pontoon, it's not going to go anywhere. And this is that guy who's working 18 hours a day in some third world country, right? He's got all the work ethic in the world. He's grinding. He's got this massive motor, but he's in the wrong boat. And so no matter how hard he revs his engine, it's only going to go so fast. In fact, his engine's so big, it's probably just going to sink his boat. Conversely, if you're a lazy ass person who has a tiny little boat and you're on a super yacht, doesn't matter how great the opportunity is. You might be in AI right now, or you might have been in Bitcoin, but if you are lazy and you don't actually have an engine that can move that boat forward, you will also not go anywhere. So you have to pair the right engine with the right opportunity. Now, of those, you have to understand that if you aren't in the right vehicle, then you will always have a cap. Right? You can always build on the motor. You can always build on that later. But if you're in the wrong boat, it's very hard to build a bigger boat while you're on the boat. So make sure that you get on the right boat first, and then we can worry about everything else. But that's going to be the number 1 predictor of success, is not necessarily the engine that you have on there. It's whether or not you're on the right boat. Because if you're on the right boat, you can get lucky and catch a wave every now and then, right? But if you're in the wrong boat and it's a tiny ass thing, the next wave comes in, just capsizes you. So make sure that you're getting in the right boat, you're pursuing the right opportunities. Number 3 is that you have to learn how to think differently. Einstein said that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. That's really interesting, right? The same quality of thought we applied cannot solve the problem that thinking created in its first place. And so if you're in a situation right now and you don't like the situation, then you have to stop doing what it is that you're doing. And that's very hard to do, because what else are you going to do, right? Like, you only know one way of doing things. But as they say, like, to the man in a hole with a shovel, stop digging. Get rid of the shovel, figure out how to build a ladder, right? So that quality of thinking that got you into the mess isn't going to be able to get you out. You need to solve the problem laterally and start looking at it from different perspectives. This is where having coaches, having mentors, having other people who've solved similar problems can be very, very helpful. They can look at you and go, dude, you realize you're in a hole and you got a shovel. Your problem can't be solved by continuing to dig deeper. You need to get out of the hole. right? And it's a paradigm shift fundamentally. What do we got here? Oh, I got a bonus. This is a really good one. This is one of my favorite quotes. This is from Bill Gates. He said, I choose a lazy person to do a hard job because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it. I love that. I love that because for so much of my life, I resonated I self-identify as a lazy person. I don't like working harder than is strictly necessary. That doesn't mean I don't like working hard, but I don't like working hard simply for the sake of working hard. Some people like going out and digging holes in the sun, and I did that as a landscaper. I hated it. I was like, this is hard work, and there's got to be a better way. And sure enough, there are plenty of better ways to dig a hole than to be the person physically digging the hole. And so I'm the lazy guy who would go out and figure out, okay, what's the most efficient, effective way to dig this hole so I don't have to do the work? And that's the type of person that you want to become. You want to be able to pair your ability to work hard with your inherent desire to be lazy. If you can pair those two things, man, you are unstoppable. All right, next one is I want you to always be thinking about how to level up your skills, because skills are the only investment that pays dividends regardless of economic conditions. Let me say that again because it's super, super powerful. Skills are the only investment that pays dividends regardless of economic conditions. If you invest $100,000 into the stock market right now, it will probably yield you somewhere between 7 and 8% annualized over the next 50 years. Some years it'll go up, some years it'll go down, but it could go to zero, right? We get into World War III, we get nuked, whatever. Like we go back to the Stone Age, all your money completely wiped out. However, the skills that you acquired throughout your life, the skills that you possess in this moment, they stay with you forever. So if you had taken that $100,000 and you had invested into yourself and learning how to become a better thinker, how to be a better communicator, how to be a better problem solver, well, the end of the world comes, you get wiped out financially, but hey, you have the ability to problem solve and to communicate your ideas effectively to other people. So now you have the ability to rally other people around you to work towards a common solution, right? And so those skills that you invest in yourself, they can never be taken from you, and they never depreciate. They only ever get more valuable regardless of what economic conditions dictate. And so think very, very hard. How am I investing as much into me, if not more, than I am into anything else in my life? Because you are the only investment that you are going to be stuck with, for better or for worse, for the rest of your life. So might as well be investing into yourself to make you a little bit better tomorrow than you were today. And the people that don't do this are the ones who look up at 40 years old. They look back and they realize, I have no skills. I have nothing to show for my time and my energy. I have a deadbeat job working for a guy that I hate. My family hates me, right? Because you just were investing in your hedonistic desires in the moment, and you didn't invest into yourself. So if there is one thing I could encourage you to take very seriously, is that you are the most important investment you will ever make. So what are you doing besides listening to this podcast today to invest in yourself? I want you to write that down and then go forth, my friend, and crush. I will see you in the next episode. But until then, stay hyper-focused, my friend.